insane.
So in terms of business in Israel, something that stood out to me was the impact of participation in the military and how that impacts business. And I think through that participation at a very young age, they learn a lot of leadership skills and how to think on their toes and deal with some very extreme situations that can then help them into various business aspects, such as entrepreneurship, starting up their own businesses. They have a much greater willpower to start up a new business because they're willing to take the risk, because in comparison to military time that they've served, it's nothing. It's
awareness that the entire country has, and each business really takes that into account. So it's not only camaraderie, but it's that idea of globalization. That's a huge part. They understand that it's a small country in terms of both people and land space. So that ability to find other markets and really identify ways to grow and become major businesses is something that's really amazing. And just how they approach it, it's the dedication to trying to be innovative and find ways that attack new markets.
I thought a really interesting insight about business in Israel was all the companies we went to. I felt like the first thing that they wanted to talk about was the Israeli economy in general, pride about the country as a whole, and their specific business as like a kind of an afterthought.
So culturally, Israel, well, we all know it's in the Middle East, so they're ethnically Middle Eastern people. They're a Jewish nation, so part of the religion plays a big role into their culture. Other aspects of Israel culture that are unique are they're very direct people. They're also very tough to work with, in that they have very high expectations in terms of results that they demand. That kind of is the fact that they're also resilient people. They've had to face so many obstacles, they have had to overcome so many adversities, and I think they're hardy folks. They also are in the middle of a desert, which also plays into that culture, that they are resilient, that they are tough, and that's something that's admirable to see. I think that's something that we can all learn from, because we live in America, which is a very comfortable land, and we can look towards Israel and learn a few things.
You really have to understand their history and how big of a role religion plays in not only their personal lives, but in kind of the community around them. Religion plays a much bigger impact on how they truly interact with each other and how they make their decisions. What was especially interesting is learning about their religion helped me understand not only the people who I'd never met, but also people who are really close to me. I have friends who are very religious, and I've never really looked at them through that religious lens. This trip really helped me understand that, and I'm really excited to go home and share that with them.
Culturally, I was really struck by the sense of identity, obviously, that Jews have with the state. It's founded on Judaism, and that's just something that's so different than what we're used to in the U.S. I felt like that shared sense of identity was really palpable, but also all the conflict there, it's so religiously charged, and it was really interesting to learn about how all those religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam overlap so much.
Kenan-Flagler GIE lot of opportunity in Rwanda for the short to medium term for business, and a lot of this is driven by the government, and they're really focusing on building up infrastructure, whether it's roads or the power sector, to really support new industry, whether that's in manufacturing, ICT. So they're really building that foundation out right now. The one major issue that has come up in a number of times is there is a significant finance gap. So the cost of capital here at about 18% is really high. So they're really working on bringing in new forms of capital, whether it's venture capital and private equity. And I think if they do close that gap, Rwanda could be a major player for the entire continent of Africa as far as business is concerned.
What struck me about business in Rwanda, and I think just as I talked about Israel in the context of the life of the country, I think we also have to examine Rwanda where it is post the '94 genocide. Rwanda is an example of sort of incremental innovation. As I view the patience and the hard work that it takes to improve upon the land and the landscape, it makes me think of the incremental improvements that are required to be made for this country to be successful. People who are hardworking and patient, and over time, these sort of incremental improvements lead to systematic success. Be it in the cities where you see everyone working, whether it's sweeping the roads or working on the landscaping. A lot of people are working on the types of jobs that we don't necessarily attribute to innovation, but it's a different type of innovation. It's incrementally improving upon the landscape, the farmland, and the overall country.
Everyone in Rwanda has been incredibly friendly. I have really tried to learn Kenyan-Rwandan while I have been here, and people are so surprised and excited to know that I'm trying, to the point where certain Rwandans have started speaking to me only in Rwandan. We visited the Agahozo Shalom Youth Village, and I became friends with one of the girls named Deanne. She was very open about telling me about her dreams and aspirations and wasn't even afraid to ask me about mine. So I think that speaks to the way things are today, and I believe that the openness really has to deal with a lot of the 1994 genocide occurrence. Because that genocide happened, all of the people in the country need to be really open, not only to each other, but also to foreigners who are here to get a better understanding of the country and its people as a whole.
In their culture, they are great marketers. They are fully focused on selling Rwanda for all the positives, despite the terrible things that have happened in their history. One of the most common phrases used during our travels was, "We hope that you enjoy Rwanda and will be an ambassador for us." And that word ambassador really stuck with me and made me believe that the culture is about marketing the change that is coming through in the country.
Rwanda is one of the most resilient places on earth. The Rwandan people are very loving and kind and welcoming and open. Even just allowing our group to come in and dance with them, to sing with them, to laugh with them and eat with them, and just how willing they were to bring us into the fold, into the family, has been a truly incredible experience. And when you think about all the Rwandan people have been through, how difficult it could be to get to that place and how difficult it can to love strangers and to be so open, it really is